When I was 16, it was every teenage boy's dream to be a guitar hero like Eddie Van Halen or Steve Vai or Joe Satriani. I will never forget the first time that I saw Slash plug in that Les Paul and play that iconic... Wait, just chill. I've made well over 100 of these videos and I've never once bothered any of you with my guitar playing. You can indulge me one little clip. Okay, so hopefully I've painted the picture really well. I was a cocky teenager, religion had little to no place in my life, I had long hair, I lived only for rock and roll, and I was completely delusional about my own talent on guitar. I thought I was going to be a rock star. So it made sense in my little 16-year-old brain that high school was kind of a waste of time. So I did what all aspiring rock stars did. I dropped out of high school, but I didn't just drop out. Are you kidding? It was the MTV generation. I dropped out in style. I stood up in my biology class and I made a big Ferris Bueller speech about how this was just a waste of time. I told my biology teacher off and I left for fortune and fame. Now around that time, Ozzy came to town. Now just for some context, I spent most of the 80s studying the guitar technique of the late great Randy Rhoads, who had been Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player, and I was a huge fan. I cannot tell you how big a fan. Wait a minute, indulge me one more time. Thank you, this video would not have been complete without that. Anyways, I went to the show with a couple of buddies, and I will never forget that night. We were so excited waiting for Ozzy's big appearance. Just before he came on stage, we all stood up in our seats. That was a lot easier back then. But anyways, we all stood up in our chairs, and everybody's screaming, and all of a sudden, a huge spotlight comes on and shines down on the curtain. And when that happened, Ozzy's silhouette appears behind the curtain and the whole crowd went nuts. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. I'm a huge fan. But when everyone started screaming, I didn't. For some reason, now I've been to a bunch of rock concerts, but something was different this time. I got this strange, eerie feeling inside. I felt sick. I was not a religious person. I was not practicing my faith, but for some reason, I just felt this overwhelming feeling to start praying. And I prayed to Jesus. I said, Jesus, I love you. I do not love this man. And I felt this interior voice say to me, look. And I knew he wasn't talking about Ozzy. He was talking about the crowd. And I turned to look at the crowd that was now lit up because of the spotlight. A few moments ago, it had all been dark, but now the whole crowd was lit up. And what I saw was this darkness. I don't want to be cliche, but it looked like hell. And the voice said to me, is this what you want? Is this the gospel that you want to preach? And I felt sick because I looked at everything I devoted my life to, and it looked empty, and it looked ugly. And all I could do was just sit down. And I put my hands in my face, and I wondered what I would do with the rest of my life, because I did not want this anymore. And it took years to even begin to clean up the mess that I had made. But about 3 years later, I walked into my first college class at Aquinas. It was theology. It was taught by a Dominican sister. She wore a long white habit with a black veil, and she had a long rosary at her side. And she was teaching about divine revelation, textbook catechism stuff. But she did not teach it like a textbook. She spoke about something that she deeply loved, and it came through in every word she said, how in the fullness of time, the Archangel Gabriel came to Our Lady, and the Son of God was revealed to us. And she spoke about what an amazing miracle this was for God to become man, to fully give himself. And here in this classroom, in the story of the Annunciation, within the context of this Dominican vocation, was one of the most beautiful things that I'd ever seen. And it was here that I found something to devote my life to. And that is why this image hangs over my head on this set. What were those rock stars giving to those people? And what were those people receiving? Whatever it was something that I did not want to preach. It was something that I did not want to devote my life to. The Dominicans have a motto: to pray and to give to others the fruit of that prayer. And it is in these words that I have found the meaning and the purpose of my life, a mission. So I became a Dominican, to pray and to give to others the fruit of that prayer, a gospel that I do want to preach. And I say this here and now because right now the world needs Dominicans and Franciscans and missionaries. We are so distracted by all the novelties of this world. I'm grateful that God interrupted me in all of that noise in the most unconventional way to pull me out of myself, to direct me to this mission. Because our society is being fundamentally transformed right before our eyes. Utopianism, hedonism, secularism. Now is the time for missionaries to once again set sail, to bring the flaming torch of Christ back out into the world. What is the purpose of your life? What is the gospel that you will preach?